It's not about being popular, but it's about being impactful. So too often teachers, especially young teachers, come in to the profession, they come into their classrooms, they come into the career thinking, if I could just be the cool teacher, if I could only be the cool teacher, then I can get through to my students. If I could only be the cool teacher, I won't have problems in my classroom. The kids will be well behaved. But I beg to differ. I believe that no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult the journey is, to gain the trust of your students, to establish rapport, and to build a safe classroom environment, you have to focus on being impactful. What do I mean by that? I'll give an example. Many years ago, I had a young teacher. She was really good, who was struggling with connecting with her boys in the class. And she would spend time doing lunch, hanging out with them, and come to the cafeteria, eating her lunch, talking with them, learning about the music and hip hop and what was current, in those times. And these were middle school kids, boys. And so she also, as she spent time with them, started to listen and learn their language, the vernacular they would use, amongst themselves. And in her effort to really be cool, there was a thing that she heard the boys would say to each other all the time, stuff like, what's up, my boy? And she thought, okay, they said it all the time. So one day, one of her students came to class. She said to the student, what's up, my boy? And she said it not thinking twice about it, just thinking, greeting and trying to be relevant and trying to be cool, right? And it backfired. The vast majority of kids in the classroom, including the boy she was talking to, felt highly offended. I remember those kids coming to me after class, and these were middle schoolers, and they were like, oh my God, Miss So-and-so called so-and-so a boy. She called him boy. That's mad racist. That's what, this is how the kids took it. And yes, the teacher was white. The students are primarily black and brown. But that was not her intention. But what happened was, in her effort to be cool, things got lost in translation. Not understanding that the nuances of language and the fact that she used the word boy and the way the kids perceived that language coming from, from the historical context of what they learned in school, they took it as though she was calling him a boy. Like, even though he is a boy, but, boy in the sense of being demeaning. And she was mortified, and she felt hurt, and she felt scared and terrified, and she felt broken because she felt like she had ruined her relationship with her students. And I coached her through it, and I said to her, you know what? It was an innocent mistake, and the fact of the matter is, it's just by restoring and helping them understand what your intentions were. But the other thing I told her was that you have to be very careful when you hedge your control, hedge your success with students around being cool, being popular. It's really about being impactful. The standards that you set, the expectations that you have for your students, the way you build them up when they're falling or they're failing or they're feeling low, like functioning more like a parent, functioning more like a guardian. Like I tell teachers all the time, I want you to treat the students as though they were your own children, with all things being equal and everything being ideal. What would be the most ideal treatment to make sure that these children are feeling safe, validated, secure, and free to grow? So that's what you're going to get, when you're being impactful, when you're making decisions, whether popular or not popular, are in the best interest of your students. So yeah, don't get caught up with trying to be the cool teacher. Be impactful and see what happens. You're impactful, and guess what? You will automatically be the cool teacher, whether it's today or down the road. I have students all the time that tell me, Mr. Njoku, my former students, I remember back then I couldn't stand you. Man, you had so many rules and all these expectations that you had of us. And these people who are saying this are now in their mid-20s. You know, some of them are married, some of them are in the throes of their careers, and they all say, and most of them say the same thing. You know, but you can't make everybody happy. Those who've shared, some of them have shared with me, and they say, you know, I look back now and I see why. I get it now. But what you were doing for us, you were preparing us, and I appreciate that because I got to college. I just knew how to be, you know, in my career. And sometimes I think about what would this teacher do, what would this person do, or what would you do as my principal? How would you handle the situation? And I've done that. And yeah, that's what happens when you're being impactful. You know, you plant seeds in people, in young people. They eventually will grow, and they will thank you for it. So let's be impactful and not worry about being popular. That will come, but be impactful first. All right. Be well. Peace.